So in 19 in the in the first half of the 20th century, it was easy for America to see the world. It was the United States, Canada, and it was Europe. That was the rest of it were dependencies, where they took the goods from at cheap prices and they sold them expensive replacements. So, that's not what the world is today, and that's not what China is today, and that's not what China is developing its policies on the basis of what they can see in front of them. It's a very different world. Whilst Africa may have a lot of problems with corruption, it's quite clear that the presidents in Africa are not going to hold their positions if they don't give jobs and money to their people. And that wasn't the case 5 years ago or 10 years ago. The Chinese have to live with a world which is changing very fast, and they have understood it faster than the rest of the world has understood it. So you've got the situation where America, which could control the world in 1945, in 2020, I doubt that America can control the world. It's too complex, it's too diverse, it involves too many changes, and we've got all of the digital world, AI and big data coming. And we just think about the enormous transformations, how many different areas you've got to keep. The Chinese government is 75 million people. I thought the Chinese government was quite small. And I say, yes, the Chinese government is quite small, but it's medium and long-term planning, and its short-term reaction to problems that have occurred on the basis of its plans are done by the party, and the party is 75 million people. Now, large numbers of those are doing ordinary jobs in ordinary places all across the country, but even if it's only 1 million of them that are involved in planning and development opportunities, it is 100 or 1,000 times bigger than anything anywhere else in the world. And they are involved in thinking about the medium to long term. I've met very brilliant people from China. I met one recently. He'd spent 7 years in Central Asia preparing BRI, understanding what was going on in Central Asia so that the plan worked with the realities of Central Asia. It's one senior level vice minister the whole time. There's lots of them doing that job the whole time in different parts of the world, understanding it. I'm just amazed by this mechanism of this structure and by how it delivers. People say to me, oh, you've got, what is it in your eyes about China? I said, no, I just look at what they've done in the last 40 years. The transformation from a backward peasant society with 90% of people living on the land to a situation now where 25-30% of the nation are middle class and will be the largest class within 5 to 10 years, where the amount of people on the land will come down to something in the region of 20%, dropping probably to 10 to 15%. The service industry, which hardly existed, is now 60% of the nation. I mean, these are phenomenal transformations without a currency that went through the roof. Where they've got some debt problems, yeah, but they're replacing local government debt with bonds and things like that. The Chinese are dealing with their problems step by step, and I think that if we want to understand what China is and what it will be, and what BRI is and will be, then we're going to have to understand the complete difference between the world today and that world in 1945.